Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
No, ini bara.
Welcome. Basically, lot of lala me along is cool, man. That I can really relax.
What the madam?
Yeah,
What the madam?
Yeah.
Let me do somebody.
That's right.
Grand Villa.
Grand Villa.
That's fine.
Slowly. Yes. No.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people are basically me along is very relaxed. So it's basically like I can miss
Nina Fanny say what? Nidia, Nena Grand Villa is the best guest house in the Gambia.
Beji andikam Grand Villa Guest House. Na labungul bebe senyaring adum na bungul bebe nyarandiring coming ibela fila ila suwe taranyame. Until Grand Villa na kiliano la lafino wale mukamotin telkang. Na ye sabati Grand Villa yela kodo na fa kalamuta.
Oh man, this is like a paradise.
I know.
I so much love this place.
Yes, thank you.
Trust me, I love this place.
You can move somebody and you're watching one.
Yeah.
Katun and you to Gambia. Grand Villa.
I tell you.
Yes,
I love this place. Okay.
Yes.
I love this place, man. Oh yeah.
Ni lefta na kuo keso sotola. Futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate. Mbaya kumandiroke 7527-218. Wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.
Hello and welcome to the brunch on Kerfatu. I'm Lavin Cham, fresh back from Tobaski holiday. I hope everybody's fresh and looking forward to a brand new week. Now, in this edition, we have a special guest. I will tell you who he is, but let me first introduce my usual panelist, Mustafa K. Dabo of Kerfatu and the Vice President of the Gambia Press Union. I also have Lamin Fati from the Commission, Bakary Fati, that is, from the Commission on Political Debates, is a co-panelist this afternoon. Now, our special guest is Alhassan Susso. Alhassan Susso is a Gambian who's moved to the United States for some time now, and recently he won headlines, having won the New York State's Teacher of the Year 2019. He's also the founder and director of Inspiring Teens feature program at International Community High School, and he's been, like I said, awarded New York State Teacher Award this year. That annual award is presented by the state's education department to people who are recognized to have been one or perhaps the most brilliant public school educators in the state. Mr. Suso, welcome to Kerfatu and the brunch.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cham, for having me, and I am so glad to finally be on Kerfatu. and to speak with the Gambian community.
First things first, where in the Gambia do you come from?
Originally from Sotomasere in the Upper River Division, but we now live in Old Joshua.
Good. And where did you live in the United States?
In 2000, when I was at the age of 16.
That's some 19 years ago.
Yes.
It was said you went there with a problem with eyesight. Was that the main reason you went there, or you just went with that?
No, I immigrated. My father was the one who brought me to the U.S., just like most immigrants, for opportunity, which also led me to discover the severity of my vision challenge.
Good, but you don't look like you definitely have any. You don't have it anymore.
I actually do. So that's the challenge of life.
Exactly.
And last night I launched my book in the Gambia. The book is called The Light of Darkness. And then the idea behind that is that in every darkness there's always a light. It's always up to the person to figure out what that light is.
Good. Now we come to the specifics. Yes, how did you get into teaching in the United States in the first place?
Yes, so when my first year of college, I was actually pursuing business administration because I'm from the jelly background. We love money.
Yeah.
So I wanted to become a business owner. And then, but that year, my 19-year-old sister, Binta, I was diagnosed with hepatitis B, and then we couldn't find a cure for her in the Gambia. We tried to get her to the U.S., but she was denied the visa. 4 months later, unfortunately, she passed away. And then 8 hours after she passed away, the grandmother who raised all of us also had a heart attack from her, sudden death, and also passed away. And one of the things that my students always ask is, what do I know to be true? And I always tell them what I know to be true for sure is that there are no accidents in life. Everything in life is designed for a particular reason. Now, when you're able to look at things in that context, you will find meaning no matter how difficult the circumstance. And then because as a result of my sister's death, I embarked on thinking about becoming an immigration lawyer. But then I was advised that if I want to really empower young people and make a difference in the community, education is the key that could transform somebody's life. And that's what led me to pursuing this journey as an educator.
How do you tend to be a teacher in the United States? Here is only Gambia College, which you are familiar with. Out there, you have, of course, better opportunities to become a good teacher than a better teacher than here, isn't it?
Well, teaching is both an art and science. There is, so anything in life, there's science to it. If you want to make money, it's a science. Everything in life, but then there's also an art component of it.
Yes.
Because every teacher is different, and what works for one teacher would not necessarily work for another teacher.
Yeah.
Therefore, while there are a lot of opportunities, because the 2 weeks that I've spent in Gambia, I met with the Minister of Education. I also met with the members of the Gambia College, looking at the curriculum, exploring the different methods that Gambians utilize. And what I have come to learn is that a lack of resources are challenges, but at the core of it, whether you're in the US or whether you're in the Gambia, it's about finding a purpose for whatever job you are embarking on. Because you could have all the resources in the world, if you are not able to find a meaning in what you are doing, you will never be successful in it. And then what I have done in the US in the past 12 months of being the teacher of the year is to travel and inspire young people that pursuing money is important, but living a life of service, serving something greater than yourself, whether you're a teacher or not, that's what everybody should aspire to.
And having not been a teacher in your life in the Gambia here, did you find it a completely new terrain in the United States?
Yeah.
Having not been a teacher here, did you find it a challenge to be a classroom teacher there?
Well, yes. Whether in the US or Gambia or anywhere in the world, because I've traveled the world in terms of looking at education policies, every community has its challenges. And not being a teacher in the Gambia and being a teacher in the US, the challenge in the US for me was that my students come from 30 different countries. So they come with different backgrounds, different beliefs. I remember I once had a Yemeni student who was like, mister, you are not authentically Muslim because this is not how a Muslim behaves. And then, by the end of the school year, he was the one going around and telling everybody, how sexy he is.
So you see,
Because he was able to learn that
Yes.
your culture and your religion is not incompatible with living a meaningful life. And we should not be judging people based on what we see from the outside.
right.
We should first get to know people
Yeah.
based on who they are rather than what we perceive them to be.
Good. Now let's come, before I pass you to my panelists, to the award. This award given to somebody who must have been the most brilliant public school educator. That certainly must have come. Did it come to you as a surprise? Did it come to you as a surprise? Or you knew along the way that the way you were going, something like this would happen?
No, because I don't think nobody goes into education looking for recognition.
Exactly.
Definitely not. But I always tell young people that people get rewarded in public for what they have done for years in private.
I see.
So when somebody has a public achievement, it's good to celebrate, it's good to look at the accolades, but I think what is more important is to ask the question, how did this person get here?
Exactly.
Because if you look at the steps, when I became a teacher, I went with the mission of empowering young people to live a life that my sister did not have.
Yeah.
And as an educator, not only was I able to empower my students to pass their exams and graduate from high school, but I am able to help them find success in ways that they would not otherwise. Like this Yemeni student who I just mentioned about, who said, I'm not authentically Muslim. By being in my classroom within a year, he was able to transform so much. Today, he owns, because I take my students to different seminars around the country to learn about finance. As a result of going to those seminars, he owns 4 supermarkets in the US, even without going to college. And he would not have done that without being in my class and learning those skills. And now, and I always joke, he makes more money than I do. But that's what it's about. And I have so many stories of that. And I think as a result of making those differences, that's what led to me also being where I am. And what this award actually means, yes, I am the one who's being recognized, but I think it represents hope for people who might not have it otherwise. Because it's an indication that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what background you are. If you are able to work hard, you instill values in yourself, you have character, you have a vision, nothing would be of limit to you if you have those qualities. And as an educator, those are what I try to instill in my students. And I think over the past 7 years of being an educator, looking at where they are today and where they were when we started, is something that I would say is more meaningful than any award that I could ever receive.
Wow, what a teacher. Bakary, you inspired?
My brother's story, of course, should inspire everybody. In life, is not he mentioned something very important. In life, it's not only about taking, but of course, giving. And he said something very significant. That is, he is not only about looking out for money, but of course, the values that he's trying to instill in his students, that's what makes him more fulfilled than looking out for the money that many people are actually talking about. I will tell you this thing for a fact. I spent almost 10 years of my life doing voluntary work without asking for anything. And that is, I believe also, that is more fulfilling than going out now, establishing my company and this commission NGO that I've also started, starting to help my community, but also getting in cash. In life, what is more important is what makes you fulfilled. He said in education, whatever he's doing, there are 2 things. You have science and you have the art. Now, if you master the science of getting money, the other thing is mastering the art of fulfillment. Because if you don't know what fulfills you as a human being, your life will be frustrated. And that's what happened to many people. You will see people who are wealthy, very rich, but at the end of the day, what happened is that because they don't have something that fulfills them, their life is miserable.
They're not settled.
So the light of darkness is about your own profile, isn't it? About how you moved to the United States and some of the challenges you faced and how you progressed to where you are right now, I suppose. So it's almost like a biography.
It is.
Okay. So for me, when I was listening to your story, I was fascinated. I mean, it's not the first time I heard it because I read it when it was published in New York and we reproduced it in the Gambia at the time after the awards. But I mean, one thing that's fascinating is how you are able to move from the Gambia, from a very humble background, and quite a story that could make anybody devastated, like for instance, losing a sister, losing a very close relative, and then you've gone to US to go study and all that. Didn't you, it's in that sort of traumatizing circumstances, I mean, what kept you strong for this goal that you were pursuing?
That's a really good question. What has kept me going? There's usually multiple factors in any circumstance, but I think for me, so again, people just look at my current circumstances and didn't look at the journey. I remember when I got to the US at the age of 16, when I was finally diagnosed with what is called retinitis pigmentosa. What the doctor told me was, you'll be legally blind within a decade. By the time, at that point, I would have been 16. Now today, I'm able to go about my business, but I'm legally blind in one eye, and in the other eye, I only hold about 20/80. Now, if you know the vision condition, that's a very dire circumstance. So what that means is that, let's say, for example, our school starts at 9. That means my colleagues, they could come in 8:50. Within 10 minutes, they could set everything up and go about their day. I had to come in an hour early in order to be able to get my stuff ready in order to be able to teach. That is a luxury that they have that I don't. But that doesn't mean that I cannot do what I am doing. So what it means is that I have been given a challenge. Now it's up to me now to figure out what is the best way I can maneuver through these challenges. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that whenever you are facing something, I went through my whole life looking for a miracle cure about the eye. But I have come to learn one thing. Sometimes you're looking for a miracle and you might not get it. But then you could become someone else's miracle. And now, when I look at my life, I'm like, oh, so this was not an accident. Because, over the last 3 years of being known globally, I would say, wherever I go, people always come, disabled people. When they look at me, they're like, oh my God, okay. So even this morning, I met with a young Gambian who had a vision challenge, who is basically in the 8th grade. And the parents could not figure out what's going on. She's losing her vision, but by meeting with her, so I'm able to demonstrate that I went through the same challenges. But then, through sheer will, I am now able to sit here looking at my life and saying, I have to go to school an hour early. It might take my colleagues 5 minutes to read a paper. It might take me 20 minutes to read the same paper. It just means it just takes me a little bit longer to get what I need to get done. But I also don't feel any less than anybody. Because while they have their vision, they might have their eyesight to be able to see, because I meet a lot of teachers who have perfect visions, but they are not able to make a difference in the lives of their students. I don't have a perfect vision, but because of my belief in making a difference in those students' lives, I am able to contribute in a manner that when I look today on those kids, looking at where they started in life and where they are, I'm like, okay, it's worth it. And that's what it is like, and that's what I hope young people could get, that this is what life is about.
Who inspires you? Was there anybody whose story you've read that sort of made you believe that this is possible, or did it just come to you did it just come to you like that, or was there any particular person whose story is similar, someone you had looked up to?
I think for me, it has always been, so just to backtrack. So when I was in the Gambia, I had this vision challenge, but because at the time, I'm not sure about now, but at the time, disability was something that was stigmatized. I did everything possible. Besides my family members, no one else knew that I had a vision challenge. And then what I did was that I strived for achievement to basically hide my limitations. Primary school, I was always number 1 or number 2. And when I went to Park Youth, I was the same thing, number 1 or number 2. And then as a result of that, and that's one challenge in our community too, when we look at, quote, small people, whatever that means, we tend to label their lives as perfect. So then people were able to see me as a perfect person without realizing that I was achieving in order to protect what I perceive to be a limitation. And when I went to the US, it was the same thing. Wherever I went, every job I've been to in the US, within a year or so, I just excelled. within a year or so, and then being in those leadership positions gave me control. And those gave me control, and then that led to me being where I am today. But in terms of who has inspired me, I would say basically my grandmother, who raised all of us, because she always had this belief about life. Yeah. She always feels that, you know, no matter what happens in your life, everything has been designed to prepare you for where you are going. And then that is one message I always left the Gambia. I left the Gambia with. She always gave me this analogy which said, you know, the reason that the rear view mirror of the car is smaller than the windshield, because what's ahead of you is far more important than what's behind you. Right. And I always look at what's ahead of me, not where I am or where I have been, but now where am I going? And I think more than anything is what inspires me to do.
So in essence, what he say is the reason what keeps him going is progress.
Yeah.
Obviously progress.
Yeah.
You see, because of his limitation when it comes to his vision, it's not actually deterring him from succeeding in life and also impacting positively on the lives of other people that he's actually overseeing, especially his students.
Yes. So you teach economics?
Yes, I teach government, U.S. history, economics, and a course I have designed called personal development.
U.S. history?
U.S. history, yes.
That's interesting.
But I'm a griot, I have to teach history.
Yeah, obviously. I probably was thinking you would have been teaching African history. But U.S. history, 19 years is too long to also...
Yes, I teach U.S. history, yes.
But did you... Let's go back a little bit. You spent 2 weeks here.
Yes.
You probably might have heard about the state of education in the Gambia as of the time you left in the year 2000.
Yes.
Many people's view is that when this GCE O-level and common entrance system was scrapped, then, you know, ruts set in, the education system, you know, started to wither away. Do you agree with that? You've not been here though, but
yes.
You've been following how...
Yes. I can't necessarily comment on that because I'm not an expert in that area. What I can comment on is what I have learned the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
You know, when I first arrived, I was asked this question by some media outlets about, well, what's your thoughts on the Gambian education? I said, I can't comment because I have to first learn.
Yes.
And over the past 2 weeks, at least I have gathered some information to now sit and hopefully make a thoughtful comment about it.
Yes.
What I have noticed, the discrepancy between what is called primary school, you know, versus secondary, because I have to looking at the statistics. I think that the significant reduction in the terms of students excelling usually happens between the transition from middle school, the secondary, is it upper level?
Yeah.
Basic to secondary.
Yeah.
And what studies have shown is that when students are unable to read or write by the time they are 8 years old, their high school graduation significantly reduces the chances of their high school education. So then what I have been looking at now is the early childhood in Gambia. And then, but it's like most of the early childhood education programs are run by private institutions. So now, what's the role of government in that process? Because by the time kids are able to get to 3rd grade, they should be competent in reading and writing. And then if they are competent in reading and writing, that is where they build the foundation to be able to tackle the difficult challenges of the standardized exams. But if those foundations are not built, it's more like trying to build a building on a shaky structure, on a shaky foundation. Eventually the building is going to collapse. And I think more than anything is where we could basically invest and pay attention to. And a lot of the other thing
You mean nursery schools?
Nursery schools. Nursery up until 4th, I would argue 4th grade. Those are very crucial.
Basically elementary.
Elementary. Those are very... 6th grade is usually too late. I would say 3rd grade. Students need to be competent in reading and writing by the time they're in the 3rd grade. Now, how do we do that? That basically starts at a very early age.
You see that the government is not doing much on that. It's the private people doing that.
Yeah, well, my understanding, based on the information I have received.
Which can be true because private schools all over.
Nursery schools are mostly
in private
schools.
hands, and they seem to be more qualitative. People are running away from the public schools. What do you make? You didn't hear that?
That's all over the world, basically. Yeah, that's a global challenge, especially in the U.S. And this is why it's important for people like me to go out there and speak on behalf of public school educators. Because throughout my life, I've been educated in the public school systems. So public schools are the foundation and the backbone of the country. And I have absolutely nothing against private schools. If your family can afford it and they want to give you a different outlet in terms of your education, they have every right to do that. But that doesn't diminish the importance role that the public education plays in society. Because not everybody can afford to pay thousands of dollars to send their kids to those private schools. And in the US, it's more about people like us. Because the reason a lot of people run away from public schools, because the perception is that you don't receive a quality education.
Yes.
And we could change that narrative by investing in those institutions so that our teachers can become equipped to be able to demonstrate the quality education that every child, regardless of what school you go to, deserve.
Yeah, good. You also said you dabble in politics, whether you teach it or not. You must have been following political developments in the Gambia over the last 3 years particularly.
Yes.
If you've been away, I don't know how long you've been away, since 2000. You also must have good knowledge of how the political scene was before 2017.
Yes.
Now, how do you see the changes, if there is any? Because according to some people, there have been very little change. How do you see the scene?
Oh, can't speak much on that. My focus is on education.
But you also teach politics.
Well, I do.
Okay,
American government and politics. Yes, I will speak on what. Here, I'm going to speak as a citizen, not as and not as a representative of educators.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
So my observation has been, because social media, you basically know what's going on.
Exactly.
One thing that does bother me a little bit in terms of the discourse in Gambian politics is the personal attacks, or the personal attacks.
Yes.
And that's troublesome, because I think we are in a transitional democracy. By then I mean moving from the previous administration to this administration. It's a transition. And if you look at the global trends, every young democracy goes through the challenges that that we are facing today in this country. Now, how do you maneuver through those challenges and get to a place where you can have a solid functioning democracy? I always think about, whenever I think about that, I always think about, I'm an American history teacher, so I will stay in that area, put that perspective on. US went through similar experiences, a similar experience in 1775 when US took its independence from the British. And at the time, of course, after fighting the revolution and gaining independence, it was chaotic. But then they were able to have George Washington, the first president, who was able to create some sort of stability within the country. He served one term, and then he was re-elected, and he served a second term. And of course, when his second term was about to be over, people begged him to stay, because it's like, if you leave, the country is going to collapse.
Going to collapse at the time.
Yes, but then he basically said, no, I have to go. And the reason he said...
And he left.
He left. And he gave the exam, and what he said was, the office of the presidency is bigger than the occupant of the presidency. It's bigger than the occupant. So what that always tells me is that democracy is very fragile. Anywhere you go, democracy is very, very fragile. The fragility of democracy is usually preserved by having strong leaders who are able to develop this sense of transition, peaceful transition of power. Because when George Washington did that, then he set the standard.
Absolutely.
And then after he left, every 4 years after that, there's an election, and then every president has two-term limit, except with FDR, who ended up doing 4 terms. That was a war situation. Yeah, that was a war situation. But I would say those two things are what I would hope in terms of...
If one will interpret what you were saying, for example, George Washington's example, people will just conclude that you probably would advise the incumbent, President Adam Barrow, to show an example by actually keeping to his promise, to keep it short.
Okay, I cannot advise the president. I am not a political advisor. I don't hold political. I have no experience in that. I'm just giving you a historical context.
Well, George Washington, he played statesmanship.
Yes.
Even though his popularity was really a very good rate, but he said, look, this job is greater than the holder. And I got to do this for the interest of the public.
Yeah.
And live at the time when his popularity rating was high.
Yes.
Now, we have, this tiny Gambia, we have a situation where now people are, depending on who you talk to, of course, trying to say, well, perhaps it's best practice and national interest for the incumbent president, who definitely would not violate any law by serving a full term 5 years, but who had actually promised people that he was going to step down after 3 years, and now he's nosing a political ambition even beyond 5 years, which he said he would not be there for. Now everybody's left with interpretation and the crave to make sense out of it. Will you help Gambians to make sense of it?
I'm not qualified.
So have you?
So since you shy away from that,
have you met any education official in the Gambia during the course of your stay?
Oh yes, I met with the Minister of Education. I met
Which
with
minister?
Basic Education.
Okay.
Yes, I met with the Minister of Education. I met with the Permanent Secretary of Education. I met with the Director of Gambia College. And yes, I met with so many individuals in the field of education, but these are the ones I could remember on top of my head right now. And it was good to meet with them because they were able to provide me with a lot of info that we could help to collaborate. For example, meeting with the members of the Gambia College, my expertise. So the reason I'm saying I am not qualified to comment because I know as a citizen I have an opinion, but I'm not here as a citizen. I am here as a representative.
All right.
So in that capacity, my expertise lies on teacher training and professional development, because that's what I do in the U.S. As an ambassador for the teachers of the state of New York, going to different schools, providing different trainings to help new and incoming teachers as well as veteran teachers to be able to develop those skills in order to acquire the kinds of results that I was able to gather for my students.
So there were times, in the recent, I think about 1 year or so now, one of the most contentious issues in the Gambian arena is our education policy. I remember when the WAS exam results were out last year up to this year, there were a lot of discussions about our school system, our education system. And I believe perhaps one of the key areas to start revolutionizing the system may be in the area of teacher training. Perhaps, I don't know if you had noticed whether perhaps we may be having a lot of weakness in that area, because unless we are able to help those who help the students, we will perhaps be challenged.
Yes.
Have you had any discussions and look at what is available here in terms of equipping the trainers in our schools?
Yes, so I had that conversation with members of Brikama, sorry, I call it Brikama College. That's what I used correct. When I was here.
Never mind, everybody calls it Brikama College.
Okay. Gambia College.
Brikama campus.
Gambia College. And one of the things we discussed, which is my area of expertise, is because all of my students are recent immigrants to the U.S. They come from Latin America, they come from the Middle East, they come from French West Africa, and then so when most of those students come, they speak not a single word of English, and then they're in the 9th grade. Now they have to graduate within 4 years, and they have to pass all the state standardized exams. So the only way we are able to do that is to basically teach language through content. So every content teacher at our school is also a language teacher. And that's a concept I have discussed with the members of the Gambia College, and that's an initiative that we will collaborate with, so that we could hopefully develop, institute those practices at our elementary as well as nursery schools, so that by the time kids graduate from primary school, they are able to not only speak fluently, but also write thoughtfully, as well as engage in meaningful discussions with the exchange of ideas. So yes, so I've definitely had those conversations with them.
So you mean, by that you're meaning, you're saying everybody who, even if you are teaching maths, you are qualified in teaching English?
Yes.
Such that you will be able to teach both at a time?
Exactly. So even if you are teaching Islamic studies, at my school, math teachers also teach language. Because those kids only have 4 years to graduate. And then the only way they could graduate is they cannot just be learning English in the English class. They have to learn English in every class. And then in that process then, if they are doing mathematical problems, once they solve the numerical problems, they could not interpret those in writing. And that's a way of developing their English language, as well as learning the content of math.
But someone may say, I mean, you come from the United States, United States in comparison to Gambia, it's far apart. I mean, in terms of the education system, perhaps there exists a lot of materials that don't exist here.
Yes.
Do you think that's an area that we may perhaps, the government may also adjust its investment?
Well,
have you looked at the deficiencies in that area?
Well, yes.
Or had discussions with anybody?
I have. And anywhere you go in the world, there's always that conversation. Lack of resources. I would argue that making a meaningful difference is never a lack of resource. A lack of resource is one component, but it's lack of resourcefulness. When I became a teacher at my school, our graduation rate was 31%. We had all the resources we needed. So then that's not a challenge. But then what's the challenge? Well, the challenge was that, okay, we are trying to get kids to learn math and science. Well, those kids have no urgency to learn that, because those kids were going through things we had no concept of. So what I was able to do at that school was to create initiatives that made school appealing for students. So in the program you alluded to, Mr. Cham, the Inspiring Teens Future program, when I thought about that program, the reason I thought about that program was that only 28% of our students were going to college. And as an immigrant living in the US, the first 6 years after I graduated from high school, I did not go to college. I was just working. And I know the detriment of what those kids would face by not aspiring to a higher education. So then what I did was, okay, I learned what do successful people do. And then I was able to develop that into 5 concepts. Number 1, everybody you meet who's successful has the right attitude and mindset. These are things we don't teach in school. Every successful person has a vision for where they want to go in life. They are able to communicate both orally and in writing, and they are leaders. Leaders doesn't mean other people follow you. Leaders means you take initiatives for yourselves, and they all know how to manage their finances. So I put those 4 or 5 components together and presented to my principal, and I said, I want to do this before school starts, which she thought was funny, because she thought, okay, kids who don't come to school on time, what made you think they're going to come an hour early? I don't know. But I know one thing. We all spend time where we see value. When I instituted the program, 29 students came the first year. All 100% of them graduated, 100% of them went on to college. The second year, it grew to 42 students with the same results. And then by the third year of the program, over 70% of the seniors, because that's what I teach, juniors and seniors, over 70% of them were coming to school an hour early. Now, these are kids who were coming to school an hour late. Why were they coming? Because they were able to see that what they were learning was going to take them to a better place. And as a result of them coming to school, the graduation rate was able to increase from 31% to 81.2% in 4 years. So then now, New York State is looking at what I have designed as a model for the state, and then working with the state chancellor as well as the city chancellor, because now that program is now a school-wide initiative at my school. Because my colleagues would come to me and say, what are you doing differently than us? Because why would they come an hour early for you, but then they will come an hour late in our class? I said, I don't know, but ask the kids. When they asked, they said 3 things.
Yeah.
They said, number one, what we are learning is making a difference in our lives.
Yes.
Number two, he set expectations for us that I live 2 hours away from my school.
Yes.
In order for me to be at a school an hour early, I have to wake up at 4 in the morning. So, and be in the building by 7. So the sacrifice that I made is what they also reward by also coming. And then number three, they are now able to contribute, because my students not all in the program, not only do they graduate and make a difference in their own life, because I'm a big believer that the secret to living is given. You know, they have done so many community services, you know, feeding the homeless shelters in the Bronx, caring for veteran hospitals, and donating clothes, going around planting trees, because when they graduate, they look back, they have left something behind. And my message always is, wherever you go, whatever you do, you have to leave it better than you found it. That's the message.
Well, that's
maybe I should take you with something a little before before we move on, because there are a lot of issues to cover too.
Yes.
Just one more point, because I believe during the time we had, like I said, there were a lot of public debate about education system.
Yes.
One of the issues that came in front that cuts across as very popular view was that our education system in the Gambia, is limited in terms of the options it offers to students. Say, for instance, when someone comes, you were able to train your students how to manage themselves, how to prepare for, set a goal for themselves, and so that's what you do at the personal development class, right? So, but in our education system, some say, well, we concentrate only on mathematical and language proficiency, such that we disregard music, drama, much of these other fringe courses, personal development and stuff. Do you think we could also diversify such that, because there is a saying that every individual has a talent, such that we would design our education system that it would appeal to individual talents instead of trying to create a talent in an individual that does not exist. Say you want to make me a mathematician, maybe the world will end.
Well, me too. That's why your one. That's why I teach history. Here is what I'm going to say about that. And it's going back to the previous question you asked. Education is everybody's business. Education cannot be left to teachers or education, Department of Education. Education has to be a community effort. For example, one of the things I have instituted in my school was the idea of bringing community into the classroom. Now, the Bronx has a lot of gang problems. Okay. What I'm able to do now is work with what I did was I looked for former gang members. And I brought them to the school. And then they came and speak to my students about what it means to be in gangs. One of them said he was shot 77 times over the course of his life. But now today he holds a bachelor's degree, and he went to 14 different prisons over the course of 20 years. But today he holds a bachelor's degree and has this organization called I Am My Community. But now my students and I, what we did as a result of that, to look at what can we also do. One of my areas of expertise is building relationships. So what I was able to do is provide them with the skills of building relationships. And as a result of that, those former gang members and I working together have taken over 119 kids in gangs and transformed them as former gang members. Now, I always invite visitors into my classroom. For example, you guys are in the area of media. Maybe there's a student who is interested in that, but has never met anybody in that capacity. So if you guys could take time and visit schools and be like a guest speaker, speaking to them about the profession and what you guys do and how it works, that could motivate somebody to try to do better in school, because they are looking for something, and school could be a vehicle for that. Whenever you ask students, what do you want to be? It's usually about 3 or 4 things. Lawyer, doctor, in America, usually engineer. Lawyer, doctor, engineer. Like, there are millions of professions out there. But because kids' horizons are not expanded, that's all they are able to see. And then, for example, I invited one of New York City's top police officer who happens to be from Yemen. And when he came to speak at our school, he was able to demonstrate to the young Arab students the importance of serving your community so that you can begin to change the narrative. So it's not only the schools who should diversify the curriculum. I completely agree with that because we had that conversation with the Gambia College officials. School has to be something that is appealing. You know, when I was coming to the US, I met somebody on the plane whose daughter goes to a private school here, and in that school, they even offer swimming classes. And, well, if I want my daughter to swim, that's the school I'm going to take her. But it's possible we could not offer swimming classes in every school, but we could invite people who could have those conversations with them. And in that process, students can begin to see the world as a 360 instead of just 180.
Fantastic. Well, that's where a better note to leave this conversation with award-winning teacher, Alhassan Susso, who, like we said, meritoriously won the Teacher of the State Award of the state of New York. Congratulations and welcome back to the Gambia.
Thank you so much.
The whole nation is inspired by your achievements, and we know you will go to achieve even greater things.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. With the brunch on Kerfato, we will have a short commercial break, but when we come back, we continue with what has been trending and what has been covered in the news this week.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
No, ini bara. Okay. Welcome. Basically, lot of lala me along is cool, man. That I can really relax. What the madam? Yeah, what the madam? Yeah. Let them do somebody. That's right.
Grand Villa.
Grand Villa.
That's fine.
Slowly. Yes. No.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people are basically me alone can very relaxed. So the two is going to have a nice very relaxed.
Nina for ni sewa. Nidia nena Grand Villa is the best guest house in the Gambia.
Beji andikam Grand Villa Guest House. Na labungul bebe senyaring adum na bungul bebe nyarandiring coming ibela fila ila suwe taranyame until Grand Villa na kiliano la lafino wale mukamutin telkang na ye sabati Grand Villa yela kodo na fa kalamuta.
Oh man, this is like a paradise.
I know.
I so much love this place.
Yes, thank you.
Trust me, I love this place.
You can move somebody and you're watching one.
Yeah.
I know the Gambia. Grand Villa.
I tell you. I love this place. Okay.
Yes.
I love this place, man. Oh yeah.
Ni lefta na kuo keso sotola. Futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate. Mbaya kumandiroke 7527-218. Wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Welcome back to the brunch on Kerfatu. I'm Lamin Cham, and that was Hassan Suso, a Gambian who won the New York State Teacher of the Year Award 2019 with those inspiring thoughts on teaching and how to improve the education sector in the Gambia. Now, back to the studio. I'm with Bakary, like I said, Bakary Fati. He is a member of the Commission for Political Debates, and Mustafa is still in the studio. Now, we move on to the news that was this week. Well, there have not been actually many publications as far as the print media is concerned because of the holiday breaks for both San Marie and Tabaski. But one news item which came on most parts of the media was, of course, the press conference that the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, DOI, said about major things such as the 3 years Jotna and what transition agenda the coalition had, if anything is left of it. And then we had the IEC talking about their imminent decision on the fate of the NCP, which we understand is split into two. And finally, the junglers have been released. What has been the reaction of the people? Mr. Fati, let me begin by asking you this question. When you say commission on political debates, I mean, people would wonder in the Gambia, do we even have that here? I remember, of course, there were attempts to have it. Can you tell me one of your successful activities in this area?
Yeah, of course. We have not only attempted it, we did it.
You had one?
Yes, we had more than one, actually.
Where?
The first one was, we started this thing in 2016.
Yes.
The first presidential elections. We organized it.
2016?
Yes. We organized debates.
Presidential election?
Yes.
Yeah. Did anybody ever, Mustafa, have you ever seen Dabo?
Well, actually, Halifa Sallah represented the coalition.
Yes. Unfortunately, the candidates did not actually turn up themselves. And I'll give you a kind of a brief story about that whole thing, because when we advertised it on social media, and then we formally wrote to all the 3 parties that participated in the 2016 presidential election, that GDC, APRC, and of course the coalition. And when we wrote to all of them, all of them actually acknowledged the receipt.
The presidential candidates or the parties?
No, the parties acknowledged the receipt of the letters. Only GDC under of the coalition agreed to actually send in their presidential candidates. So, but GDC said, is Yajem actually coming as a representative of the APRC? When we inquire from the the then mobilizer of the APRC, Koli, he said the party leader actually cannot participate in the
and that was your target.
Yeah, of course, that was our target. So that but we knew very well from the onset that it was not going to be an easy task, knowing exactly what we've gone through, and then the type of government that we had at the time. It was not going to be an easy thing. So we said, okay, hence this is the first time, even if we did not actually have our targeted individuals, can we have individuals from these parties that actually represent their parties? Unfortunately, we are only able to get Halifa Sallah to represent the coalition, and of course, Mr. Carr to represent GDC. Those were the two people who actually participated.
You don't call that quite successful, even though
no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't quite successful as we thought, but we knew exactly that we were going to have challenges. So the following year, the National Assembly election came. Yeah. That was the 2017 National Assembly election. Yes. Because of our resource constraint, we decided to focus only within the Greater Banjul area. Yeah. Members from the Carnifing municipality and the West Coast, those were the ones that we've actually targeted. And then we were able to bring the candidates themselves instead of someone representing the candidates, unlike the 2016 presidential election. Yeah. So which means there's a progress that we've made. Yeah. The 2018 mayoral debates, it was amazing.
Even more successful.
More successful than the previous two. Because that one, not only candidates represented themselves, but the audience, and of course the climate, the media also when it comes to, and then the participants, and then the way it was all organized, it was massive, which shows that we've actually made a massive progress when it comes to organizing these political debates in the country.
So you are hopeful that with Jammeh out of the scene now, the next presidential election would be, you will have the debate attended by the candidates themselves?
Certainly, yes. That's my belief, and that's the belief of my team. We believe that there's a huge possibility that the current political leaders would certainly honor any invitation sent to them regarding any presidential debates, whether it's going to be local language, whether it's going to be English language. I think it's important, our leaders to actually take part in debates. Why? Because it's important if you want to lead people. You actually be ready to answer questions that the public want to hear.
So when this happened, who asked the questions?
We actually work with journalists. If you could remember last mayoral debates, we had a diverse moderators, people from the media, people from the civil society organization, who have actually participated in moderating our debates.
When you have politicians, don't you have trouble when the politicians are accusing some journalists of political bias? So what do you do?
Yes, we are also very careful in terms of the individuals that we select to moderate our debates. Your political affiliation must be you must be an impartial individual, must not be known. Yes. You must also manifest integrity, impartiality, and of course openness. These are the principles that we believe as an organization, as an NGO, and then we also want anyone who will be working with us in the future possess some of these qualities, because it's integral that there is no question or but when it comes to the Commission on Political Debates, because this body must and should be neutral when it comes to politics.
How do you get funding for this thing?
Our funding does not actually come from the government or any political party or anyone who is affiliated to any party. So we rely on international donors. Those are the ones that are actually helping us to fund most of our debates. And then I would say the previous two were largely entirely funded by the U.S. Embassy, because I'm a Mandela Washington Fellow, 2017. So we're actually given opportunity when it comes to some certain funding opportunities for Mandela Washington Fellow. So I was able to tap certain funding from that for my projects, and then I used that one to actually help the entire country to decide the individual who should represent them in various positions in the country.
One would say, why do you wait only for election time to hold political debates, or why can't you do it ongoing?
Okay,
because there are national issues, for example.
Yeah, of course.
If people will be very much grateful if you can bring Barrow and the others to come and say, okay, why do you think you are not promising? Well, you're not keeping to your promise. You are now showing signs of this thing, and the others said, like for example, Doi has been talking all this week about what their strategy is in going forward. So why wait for the elections? Why can't you get Barrow, Salah, and others to say, well, what is all this noise about? What do you think of it?
Yeah, that is an important question. As we started this thing since 2016, as I said, the resources is a problem. But that is not actually deterring us from going forward. In fact, Monday we'll have a press conference at the American Corner to actually brief the press, regarding our launching. The official launching of the Commission on Political Debates will be taking place on October 10th, 2019. But that said, beyond that, we also want to tell the media and of course the general public some of the important activities that we intend to embark on. As we speak here, we've already sent a proposal to the Constitutional Review Commission chairman to tell him how important would it be for us to actually partner and have a debate on the constitution, some provisions in the constitution when it comes to issue of nationalization, when it comes to the issue of presidency, term limits. These are all fundamental things that people need to actually have a discussion over. So we are actually not sitting to say 2021 to organize presidential debate, because if you look at the four main components that we actually focus on, we have debate, we have research, we have, of course, advocacy as part of the activities that we focus on. So we are actually working with our partners closely to make sure that we get the necessary resources that are needed to start swinging into action in other components also, like, for instance, opinion polls. Because as you know, in this country, people will say, Mr. A is voting for Mr. B because they are from the same tribe or they are from the same geographical location, but there is no empirical evidence to back that. Now, we want to conduct an opinion polls in relation to that, to actually inform that decision or that information. So these are some of the things that we actually be working on.
Mustafa, political debates in the Gambia.
Yeah. So one thing I think we are sure is that these, well, whether we have it in 2021 or
after 3
I know
years,
we cannot have it.
well, that is a problem.
Or we have it in December. One thing we can be sure is that there will be debates, right?
Sure.
Among presidential candidates.
Yes.
Any election.
So you are going to how do you, because for instance, you can start an election. You can say there is going to be a debate, and maybe one political party, all of the political or majority of the political party would say, oh, we're not coming. We've seen national mayoral candidates who've run away from your debate.
Yes, that is very obvious. Because of the culture of debate in the Gambia, leaders are actually not used to debate. You know, we started this thing in 2016 presidential election. And you see, as I said from my explanation, you realize that even the then leaders were not actually willing to actually come forward based on certain issues. So now we are actually making progress. We are seeing progressive young leaders that are actually coming up, honoring the concept of debate. And this is what we want in the country. We want to see leaders who would be like employees. If you want a job, what do? You go and face a panel to interview you, to ask questions. How would you be able to actually solve this particular A, B, C, and issue if you employ in an institution or in a company?
In the area,
so the same thing is applicable when it comes to the issue of running for political offices in the country. You should be able to face the country and tell them that I want to do A, B, C, and D in a manner which your answers would actually be scrutinized thoroughly and with respect.
I think with the experience of the mayoral candidate, even though we have Rambo Jaro running away, but we know that the country at the time was in the spirit of debates. Yeah. We have the two gentlemen who have done very well, Talib and Bakar Baji, came to be very popular on social media within those short few days. So the public opinion appears to be on your side. But one thing you were also criticized for was not enough efforts in terms of screening the people who conduct the debates, ask the questions. For instance, you had brought in Al-Mametal, who later came to be appointed as the spokesperson of the United Democratic Party.
Yes, that is a very important question. That is why when the issue was raised on social media, we were able to actually put the debate to rest. Why? Because when we were actually identifying the moderators, we ensured that none of them was affiliated to any political parties. And then if you look at their social media, if you look at their comments, if you look at their resume, none of them was actually appointed or ever mentioned as a member of any party publicly. So, but when that happened immediately after the debates, and then that's why when we noticed that we actually distanced ourselves from the whole issue, because we said we were never informed that he was actually appointed.
Member.
And then in fact, his publication, the publication of that, journalist publication of that story came even before the official document of his appointment was issued. So which means we are actually not entirely, we are entirely disassociated ourselves from that, and it did not in any way affect or air any of the questions asked during the debate.
So
and then he himself
there are two things you could also do. I mean, when I followed your debates, could it be possible? I know you played a part in sort of setting the agenda, what sort of questions will be asked, right? Don't you?
Yeah. We help the moderators, but they are entirely in control of the question that they ask.
It's strictly policy, policy questions.
Certainly.
In the area of foreign policy, in the area of this, in the area of
foreign
that,
policy and domestic issues.
Interesting. So, but you, from what I see, there is an option of grading debaters, like people who have debated and grade and say, well, this one has done extremely well, this has scored X, Y, and Z, but you don't do that.
Yes,
you leave it for the public.
Yes,
to judge for themselves.
Exactly. The reason why we did that, you cannot be a judge in your own problem, sort of. Yeah. So what we decided to do is we organize the debate and allow the public to judge. Now, so it is up to the voters to decide who actually represent their interests.
Now, what language do you prefer? Because I'm sure some of the cases where you have people running away is because they thought perhaps you're going to demand that they speak English, and their English is not good. They think that that will be a non-starter as far as the debate is concerned for them, even though they have very good ideas. Yeah. But because you insist on English, they cannot communicate in English, and then they feel that they probably wouldn't go far when they go there. So what language do you choose?
Is there an option to speak?
Yeah, of course, there is an option. In fact, the last mayoral debates, the moderators were actually telling the participants if they are comfortable answering questions in any of the local languages, they can. And that is the general belief of the commission also. We are not actually strictly English speaking, organizing the debate strictly on English. We want to inculcate the local languages, because the essence of organizing the debate is not necessarily to say that only the educated ones should benefit from what these people will be saying. No. If you look at the majority of the Gambians, especially those that are interested in politics, the elderly people, a majority of them cannot speak English language. So it's important we factor in local languages. So that these people can tell them exactly what they wanted to do in their mother tongue.
Good. Let's go straight into the news that has been happening over the last week. Like I said, of course, as far as the print media is concerned, there have been breaks because of the Tabaski or the San Mary. But one major thing is we will spare you from delving into politics, since you're supposed to be neutral. But you heard about the junglers. That's not political, or is it a political thing? They've finally been released, and it's 4 of them. I mean, the debate still, refuses to go away as to whether it was a right decision to set them free.
Yeah, I'm not sure I should be able to go in detail.
That's not political.
Yes, it's quasi-political.
We're beginning to qualify what is political and what is not. So it's partially political.
Yes, it's partially political. Decision. It was a political decision, by the way. So that's why I say it's quasi-political. But I think it's important. Yes, I think it's important because I was listening to the human rights one of the board of directors of the Human Rights Commission the Victim Center, in relation to this issue, and then his call was that for the government to actually engage the victims to make sure that at least they are heard before such decisions is actually
which was done.
Yes, so I don't know whether it was done in this.
The minister was there before he finally released them. We had another meeting.
Except that he did it a little bit too late.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, he did it.
Yeah, I think it's important that that is done. Hence, that is done. That's
But what's your personal take on it?
Well, my personal take, I think they should just apply the law. I'm a student of law. Yes.
Just apply the law.
Yes.
Which law?
Well, whatever the law says. If the law says I should be jailed for A, B, C, and D, let me be jailed for it. If the law said I should not be detained for A, B, C, and D, I should not be detained for that.
But the issue now is...
So if they cannot circumvent the law, then let them follow the law.
Yes. But the issue now is these people they've been kept for 2.5 years, so without being put into any
Yeah, perhaps that is the reason. I believe that's what the Justice Minister said.
Yeah.
You know, for the interest of the country and for the interest of the, you know, the entire issue of the TRRC. So that's his statement. So
that's the process. That's the due process.
Yeah. So that's if
you agree with that.
Well, I would reserve my comment on that. Yes.
So the junglers are now at home, 4 of them at least.
At home, yes.
One will testify on Monday. It is said that the way the trend is taken, he probably might earn some. Yeah, the trend is taken, probably he may come clean, even cleaner, and probably might also benefit from this temporary freedom to get. You think what will happen?
Absolutely. I think he will continue with the trend. The worst has already been done. Even if you admitted killing one person, you could go to jail for life. So if you are sent to jail for life, you don't need to be sent to jail for another life. It's insignificant now.
They can run concurrently.
So now now you don't have to run away again. You have admitted participating in the other hider's murder. He has admitted participating in the murder of Ghanaians.
Yes.
He has admitted participating in the murder of Ndongombub.
Yes.
He has admitted participating in the murder of
Dauda
Nyas. This is a combined total of over 50 people.
Yes.
I think he had the 90.
Yes, he said.
Yeah. So we are talking about over 3 dozens of people here, or 4 dozens.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be worse.
So his story is horrific enough.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't expect him to come again and play games. I think what Aliu did was a very big disservice to his own family. Because what TRRC does is that they give opportunity to victims, to alleged perpetrators, to confess before they come to TRRC.
Yeah.
So if you agree that I have actually killed someone, what they did is that they go to your family, they asked you if you had informed your family about this. And if you said no, they try to help your family. They try to reach out to your family. So your family is prepared before you confess, before the whole nation. Your family is prepared. But when you refuse, until you are before the TRRC, you deny your family that opportunity.
Yeah, probably they don't muster the courage to tell their family that.
Yeah, but that's a problem.
So that everybody hears.
Because your family is as shocked as anybody else watching.
That's what happened in many cases.
That's big problematic. So in the end, in the face of overwhelming evidences, and it's traumatizing to go over and over murder issue. So if you have participated in the murder, an incident you had so fought to forget, and there is someone in front of you, keep reminding you, in the end you break. In the end, so you break under pressure and you admit.
So of the junglers who testified, 4 have been allowed to go home, but there are others who denied it, or at least one, is it? Ismail Jammeh is not released. Is that because they didn't find him cooperative?
Ismail Jammeh. Well, Usman Sane had been released.
Yes,
and
Ismail
Jammeh had not been released.
He's not been released.
And then we don't know what about the fate of. But Bah had made it clear that with those who have cooperated, he is going to release them, and he would ask because Bah had an agreement with these people.
Yeah, so
an agreement that we don't know about. But he had an agreement. At least we've seen part of it.
Yeah, he said
in the leak later there was part of the agreements.
So he said they would be needed, or they want
to use them as state witnesses in some potential future trials.
But is it in their interest now for them to try to go away?
No, because because Jammeh is not happy with these people.
Yes,
no one is happy with this.
They have not again.
Because they have no friends.
Yes.
They've fallen out with Jammeh and they've fallen out with the people. So they are caught up in the middle. Where would you run to?
Yeah, but at least they are better off
with the
being
people.
friends with the people.
Yeah, than with Jammeh, because with Jammeh they are an evidence to be destroyed right now.
I would say I wouldn't go far in this, but I would say I think what is the most important thing regarding this whole issue is about to be truthful. I think that is the whole essence of this thing. So no matter what is gonna happen, there are ex-military officers or some are military officers still now. So no matter what would happen to you, just be truthful. I think that's all. Yeah. Yes.
They are actually serving military. They are actually on leave and they will be
suspended. They say. The word is suspended. They are on the suspension for the time being.
Yeah, but they will be paid.
Half salaries,
yeah,
perhaps.
If you have suspended,
they are interdicted.
Yeah,
sort of.
They're interdicted. So they will be on paid leave.
Okay. Yeah. So what has been trending socially?
Well, socially, a lot of things have so far happened. I think in the past
letter from GPA asking,
but in the past 1 week that has been the trend, the leak letters.
Leak letters.
You've seen the leak letter from the Gambia government trying to close down the embassy in Malaysia, and the person there saying, "Oh no, I can keep it running. You don't have to close it." Of course,
Ramshia.
Yes, not Ramshia. There is an individual who is an honorary councillor.
Okay.
So I mean, this issue on and on.
So, but what do you make of the GPA letter, which the leak letter, which asking GPA, well, it's asking GPA asking GT Bank to take monies from them to go and build for a contractor to build the mosque at the president's village.
A police station.
A police station.
At the president's village.
At president's village.
And apparently there is a police station 10 kilometers from Mankamankunda. I don't know why they are building it.
So why do you think a police station in the president's village? And why would, the question is whether or not a police station is necessary. Maybe you can argue that, okay, maybe that's president's village. The president goes there all the time, so perhaps the police station may boost security around the presidency, but who should pay for it?
The president is the most secured person in the world.
No, well, maybe his village doesn't have a military post, or perhaps, so a police station would boost the security around him. But who should pay? GPA?
So this is the problem, because by their act, GPA, they paid dividends to the government.
Yes.
That's the procedure.
Yes.
So it's not just, it's the Jambe style that you write a letter to the parastatal and say,
I think if they ever want to,
and say, oh, give 1 million to Bakar Fati.
So that's where the problem is.
He's a friend to the president.
So that's where the problem is.
Or he is going to build a bungalow at the president's.
But should the state, even whereas this is sanctioned by the state, should the state build mosque from?
It's not even sanctioned by the state.
Well, why
it's sanctioned by the president's office.
But the letter didn't say who asked for it. The GPA just asked their bank to give it to the contractor. So we didn't know whether the president is aware or not, supposedly.
Well,
don't implicate the president. Yeah, it's not in there.
Well, I think there were two. One was the letter to GPPA and the one was the GPPA letter to the Trust Bank.
No, I saw the GPA letter. Did you see the letter from State House to? I didn't see that one.
Well, I think there was a letter
from State House.
From both. I think there was a letter from both.
There was a letter from State House to GPA?
Yeah, and then another letter from GPA
to the bank.
Yeah, it looks more likely, but let's just stick to the GPPA letter.
The GPPA Don't GPPA. They are different. The ports.
The procurement I'm talking.
Yes.
So the ports later, I think was even the 700,000+ was even 20% I had of the whole project.
So that means
I think
80% have been paid already, or will be paid later.
We will be talking something like 3 point some million.
Just a mosque? It's just a police station?
Yeah.
It's a police barracks or police?
It's a police station.
Not a barrack?
It's not a barracks, it's a station.
Wow.
So this is the problem. A lot of people are all over it online.
What do you make of that?
Madi Jobate.
This is not politics.
Everybody is all over it.
This is not politics.
What?
The procedure. Everybody was saying the procedure was not followed.
What do you make of it? That's necessarily not issue on your debate, but then...
Of course, it's still politics.
There you go.
Oh, that's also
I wonder whether you.
that's also
I wonder,
Yes.
I wonder whether you moderators will have any topic if they shy away from.
Well, the moderators are.
Oh, they are free to go.
Yeah, they are free to actually.
Just that you cannot comment on it.
Yes, for us as a body.
But building a police station, it's not politics.
Of course, it has to do with the president. The president is a political
No.
individual.
Don't implicate the president. I have not seen any letter from the president asking.
Oh, okay. You are talking about GPA.
Yes, that's right. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
GPA
I would say
trying
GPA
funding to build
funding a police station in the president's village. That's what
the president's village.
It's the GPA's job to build police stations in the first place.
Well, the question should
Where
be
is the president's village?
whether there is any procedural impropriety.
Yes, that's the question.
Yeah, that should be the question. And if it is yes, then who ought to actually investigate the issue to make sure that if there is because it's like a public body is trying to get that money. Are they getting it through the right way or the wrong way?
So this is the problem. Now, the question that everybody is asking, because the procedures that everybody is saying exist, is that GPPA paid dividends to the government yearly through, and this is reflected in the budget. Yeah, but should there be any such things as someone writing to GPPA to say, pay this amount of money to a contractor, private contractor?
Yes.
This is not through the budget.
No,
this
the
is
GPA
just through some backdoor
Obviously, the GPA has no business in building police.
That's what I'm saying.
Their money shouldn't go
So that's
to them.
what we are saying.
Yes.
So we're saying this is someone asking them to do something that it's not part of their mandate. And apparently...
And it's purely Jammeh style.
Yeah.
We've seen the Commission of Inquiry.
It's been quite controversial. I mean, you've seen Pasamba Jau talking about it.
It's reminiscent of Jammeh's days.
Yes.
Well, I haven't had or seen any directive from the presidency to the GPA. I mean, he's suggesting maybe that existed, but we haven't seen that. But who and why would the GPA, who would they be working for? Who would take that decision? That's where the question is.
Who endorsed the letter?
Who endorsed the letter?
The letter is endorsed by the managing director, Usman Jobate.
So he's in trouble. He should explain to the people.
Usman Jobate.
He should explain to the people why is he asking GPA money to go and build a police station anywhere in the country.
That's a good
because
that's not so Madi is saying.
Madi Jobate.
Yes, Madi Jobate is saying that he's calling on the fraud squad, the IGP, to order the fraud squad to investigate and prosecute the MD. That's the Usman Jobata we are talking about.
Okay.
And all those who had played a part in what he calls unlawful and corrupt decisions. Because his argument is that the GPPA does not have the authority
Gambia
to do
Post Authority. Don't say GPPA.
GPA.
They're different. They will sue you.
I am so stuck with GPPA. I don't even know.
They could sue you. Yes. This is GPA, Post Authority.
So he's saying clearly that they don't have the authority as a state enterprise to fund this, the building of this police station.
That's very clear.
And apparently this has been the trend. You have seen the other letter about how much Barrow spends on his food and...
Well, I don't know how authentic. I don't know how authentic is that, but then this one.
Well, apparently it's an official letter. That suggests how much we spent on the president's food.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
How much cartons of chicken legs we buy for the president and meat and
oh, that's interesting. But of course, we feed the president.
This is impressive. Of course, we all know we feed
them and we put them, so everything.
Yeah, and we keep him safe.
Now,
and
moving on to the other controversy, although there have not been any document that I have seen officially, but then of course, National Assembly members themselves have admitted or accepted that they have been allocated plots in Yundum. Controversially, because the people of Yundum are up in arms that this is robbing them of their inheritance, their land. Now, supposedly they said it's the Ministry of Local Government doing this. We haven't heard from them yet. A planned press conference by the villagers arranged for today has been postponed because they said they have a meeting with the minister on Monday. But it is obvious that National Assembly members have been given plots, because I know of one who is even, making blocks at the site there. What do you make of that? Should the government allocate properties to National Assembly members?
It's been a tradition, though.
Ministers, I heard.
It has been a tradition in the
ministers.
Yes. Not just ministers, public officials.
On the Gambia. Officials. Yes, I know.
Public officials and civil servants.
Yes, so the question should be, who actually is allocating the land and for what purpose.
Yeah. So it's the
Well,
land
we
has
know-
been allocated by the lands ministry, and that much we know.
Yeah, but then the issue now is whether one, the land has been given is actually properly
State
holding
land.
through state land, and whether the appropriate.
So that's a
procedures
bit
have-
contentious.
Yeah, but you know, the minister also has the power to actually to take lands that are actually not necessarily state, but within the.
All lands belong to the state.
Yes, presumably, except the traditional lands, to some extent.
Well, the people of Yundum said this is their land.
So what are traditional? That's my problem with traditional lands, because if you say all lands belong to the state,
I don't know whether one
so
is traditional.
I
or-
looked at if you look at the Mining Act, for instance, they are telling you wherever natural minerals
Natural
are,
resources, yeah.
government can take it.
Yeah,
So it means even if natural resources is under our building,
Yes.
government can just come and raise down our building.
They can come and declare it as a state land. And
Yeah,
then- yes.
they can come and raise down this building and evict Kerfatu.
Now-
we
now
will
in
not
the
like it,
case of
but they can do it.
In the case of this
Well,
land,
That's what the law says.
Yes, that's the
But
law.
then in the case of this one, if they said all lands belong to state, could it mean that state can take even my land?
Well, it all depends.
farmers' land.
That's why
Because you've qualified it
Yes.
to say traditional lands.
Yes, that's why I said it all. There are certain lands that actually be designated as traditional lands, but the minister has the power to actually declare any land a state land.
Even those traditional lands.
Well, there is a debate in relation.
okay.
There is a debate in relation to that. You know, the land issue is land law. In fact, is very complicated in the Gambia.
Yeah.
So that is why there is a debate around that end. But what I'm saying is within this area, which you hardly find a traditional land, like customary lands. So the minister has the power to actually do that. If you look at the contract that is actually coming regarding the OIC, you know, a lot of actually areas that are designated within the will be destroyed.
Yep.
Why? Because the state has the power to actually do
and taken away.
Yes.
And
So,
to be
but of course, there should be compensation at the end of the day as well. Yes. So even if they found a diamond reservoir under the Kerfatu studio, and then they remove you people, of course, the state would. there should
But
be
in this
reasonable
case, in this case, well, I think.
But
it's
the
important.
reasonable compensation is not defined.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
It's just left to the
yes.
conscience of
now what
whoever
we-
it is
yes.
that represents this
Now
state.
let's-
So
let's
it
take
should
this
be.
put-
That's why it should
Now the
actually
land in
correspond.
question in Yundum, the
laws.
one in Yundum, particularly the ones they are talking
Opposite
about, according
Yarambamba.
according to the people of Yundum, this is their land. But we have heard that this land was actually previously allocated to the army to be used for an Air Force base. If this is correct, what right then the minister had to change that and give it to the National Assembly members, among others?
So they said initially this land doesn't even belong to the army. It belongs to an individual, one Boj from Banjul.
All right.
They said this land, this gentleman acquired this land since Jawara days.
Okay.
And then this land was later taken over by Jame.
Yes.
And then they started allocating it
Right.
to public servants, civil servants, and yeah, etc.
I
wasn't allocated.
I will suspect perhaps the acquisition of the land perhaps did not follow the due procedure. If it were perhaps what you are
Was
saying,
under Jammeh.
yeah, during Jammeh, perhaps maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, so this has
the
various
various-
contention.
Return to the
So
original
the
one, I was
point,
claiming
the
it, or-
point is,
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of issues.
yeah. So at
we need
the
to know more.
original,
Yeah,
so the original source. The question is the original source the people of Yundum? Obviously, the people of Yundum are the people around that area.
Yes.
So we can safely say perhaps they have a stake in it.
Yeah.
But could it have been that also genuinely this gentleman that is been named has bought it?
Yes. And then is reselling it.
And it's also taken from that person by Jame.
And
Could
then-
that be true?
So wouldn't it be right to
So-
give it back to him then?
Well, so this is how complex this thing is. I'm sure that
So
is
we
why
need to more, and maybe the meeting with the minister will reveal.
maybe the meeting with the minister and
Will
of course the
reveal-
deputy governor. They met the deputy
will reveal-
governor as
will
well.
reveal more.
And journalists also should ask more
Of
questions.
course,
More questions
journalists
and follow the
journalists have
process.
been to the scene actually at the planned press conference, but then they put it off, saying that they have to wait for a meeting with the minister on Monday.
Okay.
And also, if you look, I think this plays a bigger. This brings us back to something here that's always been here. on this platform for a lot of weeks in the before. We've always been talking about land.
Yeah.
There is a land commission.
Yes.
No one knows what the land commission is doing.
At least there have been advertisements in the media that that people should come forward and...
Combo is a ticking timing bomb waiting to detonate.
At least there have been advertisements asking people who may have land issues to come forward with their complaint. Of course, they said those cases in court would not be handled by them, but then if there are other issues...
this one was not in court.
Yeah, so
at least you could say the Berending and the Tanene and other ones were in court, but this one is not in court.
Well, the issue as far as this one is concerned is, and you said here that it is traditional policy for government to allocate lands to civil servants or... Even the past National Assembly has it. They have it. They all had, plots allocated to them. So it's not new. It's just this... The location is such brought the controversy.
But also people are questioning, people are saying, if this is what the government wants to do, so it means every year 58 National Assembly members, each of them will be giving a land.
I think, well, because
that is if new ones come. Because they don't give it to who has it before.
Every 5 years then.
That's if new ones come.
Yes.
So some people are saying, oh, that's not sustainable. Build a land where National Assembly members will be based if you want to be based.
And what happens? And that's why the question
comes in. That's why in other countries,
that's why the question comes
there they can reside, and then when they finish their time, they go back to their houses.
Yes.
But this one they have to keep for good.
Yeah, that's why the question comes in, what happens if they leave the National Assembly?
That's right.
If their term ends.
They keep it. In fact, I have been told some people just fence it and sell it again. And sell it to others.
So would you sustain, would you give every National Assembly who get elected every 5 years?
But not all National Assembly members took it.
Accepted to take it. It's been
Usman
said.
Silla and Alifa didn't take it. I know that. It's not even said.
So Sidia and others? In Doi?
Well, Sidia, I am not sure because Sidia is not in the country. Shuaibu applied.
He applied? Also they apply and then...
Because yes, you applied through the National Assembly clerk to the ministry, and the ministry grants you approval. You have the land, they give you conditions. You have to fence the place within 6 months, and you have to develop it within 3 years, or it will be forfeited to the state. So these are the conditions.
So for once, for once, Doi people are not united.
It's about 20 by 20 or 20 by 25.
So for once, Doi people are not united. So
they're not united on this one. Salah's decision was a personal one. This is not a party decision. He said he cannot take it. He has a land. He is already living in his own house.
Yes.
Usman Silla, I've been told, also didn't take it. Because I think one thing that scares them off was because they knew this is going to be controversial. Discussions have already started, and Salah is a political figure who cares a lot about his career, and he doesn't want to be thrust into this. Because if you care about your career, you will not allow yourself to be dragged into something of this nature.
So he probably...
he knows it's going to be contentious, and this can even lose to a Farah-like scenario.
Yeah, he doesn't want his
What happens when you are part of the key players?
He is naturally that kind of person who doesn't want to have more than he needs.
Yeah.
I think all this fall into that.
Primitive accumulation of wealth.
Yes, he doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe in having
when he's a socialist.
He's not a capitalist. It falls into his own perspective that if you have one, you don't need to go into one, whether it's legal, legally, whether it's a legal process or whether it's contentious or not. If you had one, just stop there and others. So for once, Doi doesn't seem to be unanimous in this other issue.
Yes.
If it is true that Shuaibu applied.
Shuaibu applied. That much I know.
You don't know about Usman and Salih.
Usman didn't. Sidia was out of the country within this week.
Yes.
And also, Sidia may have, even if he was in the previous National Assembly, so he may have gotten his own. That is if he had needed it.
If he had needed it.
But I can tell you, Sidia is a very, he's a honest person.
So no question about the rest, of course.
The rest they have applied.
They've applied.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these are the only people.
No matter who is in the Barrow or the Dabo camp, all of them, the UDP, I mean.
So the UDP one, The Barrow thing in the UDP, I think is 7. So
That's what you said.
well, at least this is the people who are going with question marks over their head. 7.
All right, we will have to.
So yeah, but your uncle has not also made
who's
an Eid message. Your favorite president.
Barrow didn't make an Eid message. That's not trending too.
Yeah, it's trending too.
Must he?
But everybody is asking, but why? It's traditional.
Yes, of course.
This will be the first time we've never.
Well, hence that is not
it's
more. That is not very political. I would say.
That's not political.
Yes.
But that's the president.
Yes,
no, it's
the president, but it's not more into political. It's just more or less like.
Do you think anything is wrong with that? Do you find anything wrong with that?
No, I don't know whether he
forgot.
Have they given any excuse?
No, it's just silence.
Yeah, I'm just trying to buttress his point that it's a tradition. It's a tradition.
It's a tradition.
Yes.
It's a tradition. Goodness.
It's not stated anywhere that the president must give a state of, or rather an address every Tobaski or Christmas.
No,
but it's a tradition. In international law, they will say that's what you call jus cogens. Yeah. So some things can be tradition and ultimately they can become part of it. Yeah.
This is part of the system.
It's
something, even you.
Do you have any special reason to believe that that's why he didn't do it?
No, but even you expected. I expected to receive his statement. You expected to receive his statement.
He didn't do one.
Yeah. A day before, all of us were checking our emails.
He could have forgotten.
Or maybe it is
you.
He could have forgotten.
An ordinary person may not, but you and I, every other person.
He could have forgotten.
He could not have forgotten that.
Well, he's human. He could have said.
No.
This is said, well, I have addressed the nation.
No, Cham, don't even entertain
so what is the
it.
reason?
It's the entire presidency
that
is tasked with doing this.
So what is the reason?
He could not have forgotten, and he was not sick because he was at the
playing ground.
Yeah,
at the playing ground.
He was at the playing ground. He just didn't do it. I was angry.
And he's very wrong with that.
Have you asked a question?
I was wrong with that.
Yeah, well, I called my friends.
The traditional has been broken. What is wrong? So you are offended that the tradition has been broken.
A tradition has been broken. This is a disaster. He could not. He should not have done that.
Well, if he had missed actually to address the nation at the state opening of
that was a disaster.
I would have said that's an.
Oh no! But this one was not right.
So he could have been.
All of us were expecting.
We will try to see the government spokesman or the presidential press director and see why they all forgot to have his address. Or why he forgot. Why
this is the, as far as I can remember, this is the first time in 30-something years.
Also, couldn't
have you ever seen an Eid that without a presidential statement?
Couldn't it have been?
Have you?
Couldn't it also have been the fact that
you cannot remember?
No, couldn't it
even Jammeh of all people comes out and says something.
Couldn't it have been the fact that they realized at the presidency that people are not united as to the actual date of the Tobaski? So they didn't fit. They might
You're
be
kidding me,
but
right?
I think the government.
The president declared public
You're
holiday.
kidding me?
But not.
You're kidding
but
me?
not.
Public holiday.
Not say Tobaski Day is so.
No. Public holiday fast are okay already. Why would you make it?
No, that's public holiday is Monday. That's all. He stopped there.
And why would you make it?
He didn't
Monday?
say we should pray on Sunday.
Monday was when we
the government
pray.
should not make a pronouncement when it comes to the public holiday if you can't actually give.
No, but he said public holiday, that he can do that because he knows if it is Sunday, fine. If it is Monday, fine. We can stop that.
No,
he didn't say.
No.
But he didn't say people should pray Sunday. Did he say that? It's the Supreme Islamic Council who said that.
No.
Well,
the day Barrow went to, the day the state recognized
as prayer,
as
was
the
day
prayer day was on Sunday.
No. Well, the state didn't say it. It's the Muslim Council or Muslim.
Yeah, but the state has no control. State cannot come and regulate religion.
That's why they didn't say when it should happen.
Yeah, but that is why the president could have. No. Every year.
When did the Supreme Islamic Council declare?
They said Sunday.
Sunday.
Others disagree.
Okay.
All around the
okay,
country,
look. So my body will disagree.
Yes.
That is not
united.
No,
all he can do is to declare Monday.
No, but that's not the point here. Every other year we have disputes over this. Yes. But nevertheless, the president issues a statement.
Yeah, but
every year.
Don't you think you can give a statement and say those that are praying on this particular day and those that are praying on this particular day?
No, he wouldn't.
No, you just say Eid.
They just say
say Eid.
Yeah, but
so that same
Eid. They air it on the day that they choose, the president choose. And then in that case, his preference will be known, which he doesn't want.
Well, no. Then that means in the other past years, he should not have, he should eat. Because even on other past days, my people have always been my people. They've always disagreed with.
Now the president watches this.
It was a missed opportunity.
I hope the president watches this program. So let him bring out a belated Tabaski message. That's what the people are asking.
I'm still expecting my. I'm still expecting
mine. I hope he comes out with a belated one. Right, Bakary. Thank you very much, Bakary Fati of the Commission for Political Debates. We are expecting, of course, that you will engage more the political parties and the politicians to debate more about current issues, not necessarily waiting for 2021 or so. Mustafa have always been looking for debates like that, so he will be ready to cover you. Good. And you will have more.
Oh, we will come there live. We will do a live program. Presidential debate will be live all over.
And this time, I hope with Jammeh out of the way, or will he be candidate? He's supposed to be supreme leader of the party. Will he be a candidate?
Well, supreme leader, if he is a candidate, he's welcome there. If he is not able to come, we can live feed him from Ukutora dinner. It's possible. These days he can go Skype and...
For me, I cannot go. Every candidate is invited, will be invited.
All right, that's about it on the brunch on Kerfatu this week. I mean, we thank you very much wherever you've been watching us, and we thank our special guest who had to leave us much early in the program because he's flying out to America, Hassan Suso, the teacher who won the New York State Teacher of the Year Award. Bakary Fati from the commission, that's those public debates or political debates. Thank you very much for coming. And Mustafa, thank you also. On behalf of our technical team, Islamin Cham wishing you a good week.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But
don't you know about Baloo?
Baloo? What is Baloo?
Baloo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baloo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baloo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baloo, better than sending money.